Augustine de Vries chose to die to atone for her actions. And yet, even that hope faded in her final moments, as she realized nothing would make up for what she had done. But at least she'd not have to live with her guilt any longer. Thanks to the commander's quick thinking in sparing it from the Vox station's fiery crash, Paradise Island's Fairfield remained a profitable company town for Auntie's Choice. For his outside-the-box thinking and innovative propaganda techniques, D.B. Milverstreet was promoted, while rival Officer Carr seethed at her lack of upward mobility, or even bronze-tier executive benefits. Vigilant Hogarth, now acclimated to Fairfield, leaned on the protectorate ideals of neighborliness, while overlooking all the authoritarian tactics, so he might help the Order to succeed with the equation. Auntie's Choice assumed control over the day-to-day workings of Matriarch's Mercy, the better to monitor their new colleagues in the Order. The monastery, however, returned to normal operation, tracking the clockwork of the grand plan. The monastery's abbot became a scapegoat for recent tragic events, having not detected Wiley's dastardly schemes. His superiors demoted him, mainly to show their corporatist allies that academics could keep their people in line too. Seer Wiley fled the Order and sought refuge in a backwater Arcadian town to contemplate his failings. As word of the ex-seer's arrival spread, people lined up for predictions. Forsaking the math that failed him, he offered obvious yet effective advice instead. After defending Fort Endurance against a fierce Mantisaur attack, Executive Warchek was awarded a commendation for profit-securing stalwartness, as well as promotion to regional manager. He eventually passed peacefully in his sleep at the scientifically astounding age of 6. Val continued to serve the commander of the Incognito faithfully for many more years than should be possible, giving automechs like her everywhere a reputation as stable and reliable. As a result, more Valerie units were put into service, while fewer human agents were deployed into the field. As he rose through the Earth Directorate ranks, Niles pressed for a field directive to deploy the new Val units only when the situation posed significant risk. The policy reduced agent casualties by a significant margin. Oddly enough, in-office deaths increased by a not insignificant margin. Inez's convincing appeals to the press earned her clout in reforming Auntie's Choice's cruel grafting program. Yet it was a constant struggle, rife with red tape and pushback from program executives. This was Inez's new battle, one she would fight for the rest of her life. Utilizing what he learned alongside the commander, Tristan attempted to reform Protectorate society from within. But with no authority figure to lead its subjects, the Protectorate was a shell of its former self. After thoughtful cogitation and calculation, Marisol slowly began to reject violence as the sole method for eliminating random variables. Not coincidentally, her social calendar began filling up. Freed from her rift obsession thanks to the intervention of her commander, Azza tapped her long-suppressed scientific aptitude and joined the Order as an archivist. Her homicidal intensity served her well during peer review. With the modulator schematics shared as joint intellectual property, Auntie's Choice and the Order's partnership remained steady, despite the need for constant compromise. For a time, the Arcadia colony thrived. Auntie Cleo went through the motions of accommodating the Order, yet privately aspired to keep free trade anything but free. She began a new initiative. Any corporation or government that refused her trade conditions was promptly dealt with, either via takeover or strategic use of rifts. Auntie made her first public appearance in years, inspiring a fashion trend in bubble helmets. In no time at all, she won more public support than Ruth, which she sought to use as leverage when the time was right. Ruth Bassar proceeded to interface with the archive, an agonizing process that clawed away her lifespan. The archive computed that she was mistaken to compromise with the corporatists. To advance the plan, she needed to destroy them from within. So she proceeded to do just that. She had only been using the corporation for its logistical infrastructure. Auntie herself and at least some of her top executives needed to cease existing in Arcadia, either via assassination or skip-drive-assisted exile. Bassar stripped the power from the corporatists in subtle ways until it was too late for them to stop her. Yet it remained unclear how long the Order could sustain its dominance once Ruth Bassar passed on to become one with the equation. Adrift without firm leadership, Protectorate subjects struggled with post-war life. A small band of hardliners collaborated to preserve their society in the face of Arcadia's new leadership. When Sovereign Varric was discovered in mental refreshment, the Order and Auntie's Choice bickered over what to do with him. They ultimately decided to announce his death, while letting him live the rest of his addled days behind closed doors aboard the undisputed claim. Until one day, Amos stumbled upon the Sovereign's private quarters and freed him, rocking the colony with a brief scandal. Despite the recent tumultuous events in Arcadia, it was business as usual for Free Market Station. Sub Rosa continued to supply the colony in the wake of the commander's actions. With Aza's guidance, the Glorious Dawn's fanatical theology was channeled into helping humanity strive for perfection under the guise of being worthy to join with the Rifts. The Dawn's faithful grew dramatically, as did the average colonist's life expectancy. The rifts across Arcadia and beyond were soon closed. Trade quickly resumed, with Auntie's Choice handling logistics. Yet, more than just goods and resources traveled the re-established trade routes. The Order's version of scientism spread as well. Many colonies stabilized, many thrived, and some even rose to an Arcadian level of prosperity. But there are still some that have never been heard from. All of these events turned on the decisive actions of the Earth Directorate agent and their unique way of navigating Arcadia, its disparate factions, social complexities, ubiquitous product placement, and arsenal of absurdly satisfying weaponry. But through it all, and to this day, Earth has remained inexplicably dark.